schimbările climatice, îmbunătățirea eficienței energetice sunt preocupări nu numai ale seminarului nostru, ale mesei noastre rotunde, sunt preocupări și ale proiectului, sunt preocupări mondiale. Cu atât mai binevenit este acest proiect, cu atât mai binevenit este această masă rotundă și cu atât mai binevenit este municipiul Pitești în această perioadă. Iată că în toamnă se previziona a fi o extrem de grea, cu geruri foarte mari. Până acum 3-4 zile previziunea aceea era infirmată, dar iată că s-a adeverit. Alături de ea se adeverește încă o dată că eficiența energetică trebuie să prindă contur concret, fiindcă până la urmă, sau în primul rând, resursele naturale sunt epuizabile, cele convenționale pe care știm, în timp ce nevoile populației mondiale sunt, dacă nu constante, cel mult în creștere.
Everyone wants to become, wants to have a good quality of life, but all cities in the world cannot have the same standard as far as the resource consumption is concerned that the European model presents. So actually, we as Europeans, we need to lead the way in reducing our ecological footprint, to reduce our resource consumption, and become, despite being well off and having a good quality of life, having a very small resource consumption or resource use per capita.
Cu toții ne dorim, într-adevăr, un nivel al vieții mai mare și ridicat. Prin urmare, noi, ca membrii UE, suntem oarecum deschizători de drumul să învățăm și pe alții cum să facă acest lucru.
So this is what we need to communicate. This is what our network is about, and I would like to share insights with you. We as ICLE, we have the thought of sustainability with a slightly different approach that you might think of. We have not 3 pillars of environment, economy and society or social life, and understand sustainability not in this way. We understand sustainability in this way. We have the natural resources at the bottom, the common goods, which means soil, water, and such, as well as climate. And we have the quality of life, the society at the top, which inspires us and which serves our individual needs.
ICLE are ca perspectivă și ca abordare a sustenabilității un model care este prezentat pe slide, având la bază resursele naturale, sol, apă, chiar și vreme, și tinzând spre acea calitate a vieții pe care ne dorim cu toții, cum anume ne va explica dânsul. Okay?
And what connects both is economy. Here we use the resources we take from the ground, dig out of Mother Earth in this sense, and transform them to establish quality of life.
Ceea ce leagă cele două dimensiuni este economia, cum anume folosim ceea ce ne este oferit pentru a crește nivelul de trai și pentru a îmbunătăți calitatea vieții.
This also means in the inner circle that we build infrastructure, transport system, an energy grid, and so on.
Asta înseamnă îmbunătățire și a transportului, a energiei.
And to become sustainable, now we need to look at exactly this interaction. We need to try to set ourselves within our municipalities' target to reduce our carbon footprint as well as our resource use, lose less resources, and achieve a happy and healthy community nevertheless.
Asta înseamnă în mare parte să reducem consumul de resurse naturale, reducem și dioxidul de carbon, emisiile de dioxid, pentru a ne fi mai bine.
The important thing is that we actually do understand this connection, do plan well ahead towards climate change, mitigation, as well as adaptation, trying to save resources, save energy today and for the future.
Okay. Ideea este să înțelegem această interconexiune dintre om și mediu și să plănuim bine lucrurile pe termen lung.
We started off in ICLE 2090 and we're very much or 1992. And we started off in Rio de Janeiro very much with the Earth Summit, and we analyzed after 20 years our achievements, the achievements of local governments, and came to this picture, which I would like to share with you, which shows 8 possible orientations for the future of cities. We summarized megatrends which we picked up and built experience from the past, and it's what I'm presenting now in these 8 orientations is nothing that we just need to follow one direction. It is something to consider in a holistic view.
Ok, totul a început în 92 la o convenție Rio de Janeiro, ceea ce va prezenta dânsă sunt 8 direcții de evoluție, dar nu înseamnă că trebuie să urmăm doar una. Ele sunt inclusive, au toate relevanța și importanța lor, deci nu se exclud una pe cealaltă.
We could now go on a journey with a sailing boat and can look for the right direction or for a possible direction, and let me walk you through those 8 new horizons which might be possible for you.
Vă puteți imagina că plecați într-o călătorie și dânsul ne va ghida să alegi direcția potrivită.
One trend, and that's very important, which we picked up, that it is more and more cities have a vision for 20 years or for 30 years from now towards their development, and they try to bring this, to plan this, and to make this vision come true.
Din ce în ce mai multe municipalități au această viziune, chiar pe termen lung, 20-30 de ani.
If the vision is, for instance, sustainability by 2050, often it is the aim is very abstract, and the point here is that we try to communicate to our within the city council as well as towards our citizens, towards the private sector, that with simple words what we are going to achieve. And often what happens or what helps is a more symbolized aim, like for instance to become a solar city, a green city, a 100% renewable energy city, a fair trade town, or a bioenergy village where the energy comes only from bioenergy, a zero carbon footprint, a fossil-free city, and so on. And with this aim, with this overall vision, one can plan, one can communicate and connect different thoughts towards this very complex picture.
Poate pare așa o chestie foarte abstractă, dar dacă privim lucrurile oarecum umanizate, la o scară redusă, să zicem așa, gen orașe cum sunt orașele solare sau orașe verzi, orașe bioenergetice sau chiar și sate căltune cu această perspectivă, lucrurile pot fi oarecum, să zic așa, împărțite ca informație, reduse și accesibilizate. Poate părea o țintă așa foarte dificilă și greu de atins să fii sustenabil, dar lucrurile pot fi realizabile.
One of these examples you might know from Zurich, not German, I promised you German examples, but this is almost Germany, this is Switzerland, of course. Zurich has the aim of becoming a 2000 watt society, which means that people should only consume 2000 watt every day, and this would mean that you might have a vacuum cleaner at home with has 2000 watt, and in comparison you should consume only that energy that the vacuum cleaner would consume if you leave it on the entire day and the entire night throughout the year. So this is just as an imagination what the 2000 watt society aim is about.
Un exemplu este Zürich, care, deși nu e un oraș german, așa cum v-a propus că ne vom oferi exemple nemțești, este totuși un oraș care și-a propus să fie numit orașul 2000 W. Adică fiecare om să-și reducă consumul de energie la maxim 2000 de W pe zi. De să foloseam un exemplu cu aspiratorul, că, de exemplu, dacă lași o ziua în priză, doar atât să consume.
The city of Zurich has written that goal within their municipal constitution. So it becomes a really a legally framework for the city, and is now working on the building sector, on the energy efficiency side, as well as the transport sector, towards this goal to reduce emissions and energy and become a very small-consuming, resource-consuming city in Europe.
Deci doresc această idee implementată inclusiv în domeniul public, chiar și ca transport, de exemplu, să intre în cât mai multe domenii și să reducă acest consum de energie.
My last sentence already said another trend which we picked up, that it is important to anchor sustainable management within the municipal daily life, to institutionalize sustainable management.
Următorul pilon, să zic așa, următoarea direcție ar fi ancorarea acestui principiu de sustenabilitate în zona de unde ne propunem să facem acest lucru, în zona locală, să o particularizăm. Okay?
So that means when we, for instance, plan our municipal budget for next year, we look in particular on sustainability, on the impact this budget has towards the next budgeting period, setting target to reduce energy, to save money, to reinvest that money into more energy efficient devices, monitor this development, this saving, report on it, and in this way institutionalize these achievements, these targets, these indicators.
Inclusiv în prelucrarea bugetului local și în planificarea lui se pot include măsuri care să reducă consumul de energie. Yes?
So it does not become something which is minor on the side, but it is central, because in every task the municipal staff is working on, this becomes a core element.
Dar această țintă nu fie ceva abstract, ci o chestie comună tuturor deciziilor pe care le au în municipalitatea. Adică toate marile decizii să aibă acest lucru în calcul.
Ludwigsburg, for instance, a German city, has done that through urban planning. Their entry point was to plan their city sustainably, and energy, as well as transport and other aspects, social aspects, social housing, for instance, went into that master plan thought. And citizens, for instance, are participating with the council in their decision making, draft their ideas in workshops, and like this the council picks up on trends that is happening on local ground and transforming that into the municipal technical administration work day by day.
Orașul Ludwigsburg a făcut acest lucru și anume a inclus oamenii, comunitatea locală, a venit chiar ei cu idei pentru a reduce consumul de resurse. Okay?
Another important point is to enable the civil society in having action. You can see here lots of plates and pots and frying pans made to letters in a protest or a message. And actually civil society nowadays is so diverse and has lots of ideas, and it is a smart idea as a city, as a mayor, to use these ideas, to discuss with citizens their way of thinking, and especially when communities that are not having so much money because the budget cuts are suffered also in Germany, for instance. It's this potential of their citizens could be used, and the municipality becomes more and more not the driver, the steerer of the ship, but actually the enabler of civil society, which is rich and which has lots of opinions and thoughts to share.
De exemplu, o altă direcție ar fi să permitem societății locale să vină cu aceste idei și în felul acesta municipalitatea să fie mai performantă, să nu fim doar cei care ghidează, ci să lăsăm oamenii de fapt să facă lucrurile și nu doar să facilităm acest demers.
More concretely, for instance, in the city of Bremen, environmental activists were recruited by the city for an energy saving program. These activists were visiting after their training on energy efficiency households within their districts, and had also a supply of energy efficiency lamps and other devices, talked to citizens very authentically about understanding their needs, their energy bill, and so on, and by thus having no cultural barrier within this communication. And this model of using citizens to promote energy efficiency became quite popular. So my message is use the potential you have in your cities, speak to the environmental activists, trying to engage them in your sustainable energy action platforms.
De exemplu, în Bremen există o rețea de activiști, să zicem așa, care în cartiere de unde sunt sau unde sunt trimiși vorbesc cu oamenii pur și simplu concret în casele lor, ce anume consumă, unde pot reduce consumul, ce ar putea îmbunătăți și în felul acesta facilitează această idee și această distanță dintre omul simplu și municipalitate. Îi implică pe ei.
Another thing which is nowadays quite easy is going the internet and on Facebook, for instance, and click like. I like saving energy. But actually what we need is action. We need to make like to an action. And this is...
Nu este suficient să ne placă doar o idee, trebuie să și facem ceva.
Another example that is related to that is in Bremen as well. The city council established a construction material exchange. So an exchange, a place where people could go and exchange different construction material, which someone does not use anymore, would like to give away, but would like to take something else instead. And in this way, because our society is much and more designed in the way that we just buy and then throw away when we don't need it anymore, but actually in this way it was in the field of construction work. This was a very good idea and was taken up quite vividly.
De exemplu, în Bremen au un sistem numit oferă în loc să arunci. Lucruri pe care poate noi nu le folosim, alții au nevoie de ele, inclusiv în domeniul construcțiilor, lucruri pe care poate noi ne-am dispensat de ele, pot fi folosite pentru a fi reutilizate. Nu neapărat reciclate, cât chiar folosite de alții lucruri pe care noi nu le mai utilizăm.
And maybe another figure for you, 50% of things, of material we dig out of the soil, we use for construction. And 33% of material we waste comes from construction. So actually, this idea is at the core of sustainability, is at the core what we should strive for. And therefore, I also brought you just because of goodwill this small present, a project of ours which is working with our team of procurement. And here you find information of how you, as a city councillor or as a city administration, can procure sustainable construction goods and in this way help to use less resources.
50% din ceea ce folosim pentru a construi provine din mediu, dar în aceeași măsură aruncăm și deja 33% din ceea ce ceea ce construim. Ce va oferi dânsul este un model de proiect pe sustenabilitate în ceea ce privește construcții. Cum văd acest lucru că poate fi sustenabil în construcții.
As well, in the terms of planning and the holistic view we should take is that a city by itself might not have the resources to be self-sufficient. But looking at the region, there might be quite possible to install wind turbines, to have more solar panels, and to have the food production very closely to the city, and use the economic circle more and more in a very concrete way, that we create urban regions which are becoming sustainable, lose the resources which are locally available and don't need to transport from Brazil bananas to us. Of course, we still need to do that, but in other ways the salad nowadays often also comes from somewhere else in the world. So trying to use the resources that are locally available as much as possible.
De exemplu, poate că un oraș nu este însuși suficient și sustenabil, dar se poate folosi de zona învecinată. Tot ce oferă zona poate crește resursele unui oraș și e chiar păcat, de exemplu, să importăm de la mii de kilometri distanță când putem să exploatăm zona învecinată nouă.
So this also here in Vitesse, exactly what you are doing in terms of the mobility, which I just learned, that you're not only focusing the public transport here within the city itself, but speak to the mayors of the region and connect and extend the public transport of the city towards the metropolitan area.
Apreciază, de exemplu, lucru că, de exemplu, domnul primar încearcă fluidizarea traficului cu localitățile din jur și acest lucru este o chestie foarte grozavă, îi se pare dânsului.
Another example we have here in Germany is a city which was heavily dependent on the shoe industry. Now the shoes nowadays come from China and other places. So actually the city is in high budgetary problems, but also has the vision to become more sustainable and with the aim of becoming renewable. This is quite likely that it is going to happen because it has lots of unexplored potential.
De exemplu, orașul Pirmasens își baza în mare parte în dezvoltarea sa economică pe producerea de încălțăminte, dar cum China acum este mare producător de încălțăminte, trebuie să regândească modul de a se redescoperi alte resurse din care se poate supraviețui și dezvolta.
As well as citizens have great ideas in terms of activism, citizens can also contribute quite a lot to the question of sufficiency. The lifestyle model of the EU, which I explained at the beginning, has many positive, or actually is very positive, and is drawing the attention of many people throughout the world. The interesting thing and our challenge is to make this module still possible, but using less energy and using also the thought of not using so much energy when we don't need them. For instance, we can switch out the light easily when we are not in the room. It's a common thought, but nowadays it's become a habit that we can be quite comfortable, too much comfortable, maybe even that we lose the ability to decide what is necessary and what is not. To enjoy a good meal with slow food, in the sense with food that is locally produced, is tasty. Does not need to come from. To need the kiwi from New Zealand all the time. Maybe just once a year when I'm there, which is also not sustainable. But you know what I mean, in the sense of focusing on particular items, on maybe consuming less, but with a much higher quality.
Ideea de a avea mai puțin și de a consuma mai puțin sunt lucruri pe care le înțelegem, gen să stingi un bec când nu mai ești în cameră sau de exemplu, să nu folosești un aparat care chiar nu e absolută nevoie, să consumăm poate chivi, spunea dânsul din Noua Zeelandă, dar mai rar, nu în fiecare zi, poate chiar să mergem acolo. Lucruri de bun simț pe care le știm și pe care acum suntem mai conștienți și începem să le folosim, să le conștientizăm mult mai bine.
Now this is of course a nice thing, also quite theoretically. The city of Basel in Switzerland has tried to enhance sufficiency, tried to reduce energy demand by energy saving, and has established a financial model behind that. It has decided that each kilowatt hour there will be added some amount of money which every citizens and every industry has to pay. So the more citizens and industry are consuming, the more they pay into a pot, the more they pay into a fund. After the year is over, these funds are redistributed. Each citizens get the average amount back, and citizens that have saved energy will receive a payment which leaves them with a better balance, a positive balance, but citizens that didn't care so much about energy efficiency will have to pay the addition throughout the year, and in the end of the year will not get so much money back.
Basel, de exemplu, au un sistem de recompensare a economisirii, să zicem așa. S-a monitorizat consumul de energie electrică și s-a stabilit, de exemplu, ca peste un anume consum să crească și prețul kilovatului. Banii care s-au strâns în felul acesta au fost puși într-un fond, iar la sfârșitul anului s-a făcut o cercetare. Cei care au consumat mai puțin au primit corespondentul respectiv în bani înapoi, cei care au consumat mai mult au primit mai puțin bani înapoi și au fost descurajați în ideea de a economisi consumul de energie electrică.
So the tax incentive for more sufficiency. And last but not least, we should think about beyond the here and the today. We need to think, of course, about, in other sense, about our children, which are living which have to live also in the future in our city. And we also need to think not only within the boundaries of our city, but also about what we are doing here, what kind of impact does it have somewhere else in the world. So in this sense, our planning should incorporate the view of planning beyond the here and now.
Prin urmare, să gândim lucrurile nu numai aici și acum, ci pe termen lung și pentru copiii noștri care peste 20 de ani vor fi adulți, nu numai acum, ci și pe termen lung.
An example for this is, for instance, the time exchange in Herrenberg, a German city. Citizens started to exchange activities between each other, meaning that a neighbor helps a neighbor or sees online that someone needs help to walk out the dog or something. Then this person agrees to walking out the dog, and in exchange gets then sort of a value, a time value. And whenever the person that walked out the dog might be something else, he can go online in this exchange as well, ask for help, offering the time he had spent on walking out the dog, and someone else is going to help him. So making society working on a different module, trying to help each other stimulate the society and the social thought within the city, and thanks to this interesting idea, it might be possible.
O idee încurajatoare aceea de a ne ajuta între noi. Poate noi știm mai multe, suntem dispuși să facem anumite lucruri și alții ar avea nevoie de aceste mâini întinse de ajutor și noi ideea era de a conlucra. Ajutându-i pe alții, poate și noi vom avea nevoie de ajutor și vom primi la rândul nostru acest ajutor binevenit.
And my last slide for this talk or this presentation is I wanted to share with you that bioenergy and energy itself is not something which is just accepted. We need to look at our local conditions of producing energy, either wind or bioenergy in the sense, and need to discuss if this is sustainable, if it is feasible, if it is unsustainable after a certain amount of energy which we cannot produce anymore locally but need to import biomass from the north of the country or the south of the country, very far away, just to keep our system running. So also in Germany, and I'm sure here as well, you question if this is a sustainable solution, if this makes sense also long term. And it is wise to do that, exactly to do that. And the example here I wanted to show you that we have the debate in Germany about bioenergy, for instance. And I participated in a German discussion of citizens between the city and the citizens, and showed them in this sense also this picture, the slide here, saying that in Germany we use the land and the crops for more than half for food for our animals, for the meat we are eating, and only a fourth part for our bread, and even less for our bioenergy. So the kind of correlation between meat, corn production for food, meaning bread, and bioenergy might be diverse and might be different in your city, but we need to get to know this picture and try to analyze it on a local basis in order to make a sustainable decision.
Bioenergia rămâne o soluție viabilă. Întrebarea e cât de viabilă poate fi în zona în care trăiesc eu, de exemplu, și cum pot adapta resursele din jur pentru a mă susține singur. De exemplu, în Germania, prezentarea pe care a arătat-o dânsul pe slide, a făcut-o pentru a demonstra că mai mult de jumătate din resursele noastre le folosim pentru a hrăni animale și automat pe noi înșine, o pătrime pentru a produce pâine și a avea o mică parte pentru energia bio, pentru a produce energie bio.
Noi toți dorim, sigur, să realizăm multe dintre obiectivele pe care le-ați prezentat, dar dorim foarte repede.
We want to achieve a lot of the goals that you are proposing, but in a very short amount of time.
Și cu efecte cât mai mari.
And with very big effects, very visible effects.
În acest sens, pe lângă acele câteva idei pe care le-ați prezentat, idei concrete, cred că ar fi bine de diseminat câteva căi pe care noi să le putem, câteva mijloace, pe care noi să le punem în practică, începând de săptămâna viitoare, începând foarte repede.
So maybe we should talk about some specific means to which we can use to achieve this, but like starting right next week, for instance.
Mă gândesc aici că o primă, ca o idee, ar trebui acționat la nivelul școlii, la nivel educativ.
So maybe a first step would be to start in schools.
Cunoscând fi faptul că ușor va fi realizată descentralizarea, iar școlile, pe lângă partea de finanțare pe care o asigurăm noi aproape în întregime, putem să intervenim și în partea educativă.
Schools, this is like a national trend. Schools will become self-sufficient from the point of view of the finances. Only a small amount of money will be provided by the city council.
De exemplu, există acele opționale, materii opționale la nivelul școlilor.
In schools there are the optional classes, for instance.
Și poate că o parte din opțional să fie chiar această sustenabilitate.
Maybe we should approach the idea of sustainability in schools during these optional classes. That is a good idea, I think.
Adică, dacă vom veni cu chestiuni generale, Sigur, sunt foarte bune, dar noi fiind ocupați cu problemele de zi cu zi, probleme concrete, poate că mai greu ne vom aplica asupra.
Because usually general ideas which don't have an immediate effect, if we don't use them, they are not sustainable.
Sigur că această parte a doua cu finanțarea este extrem de importantă.
And of course, the money issue is also important.
I got used to going by bike to school, and exactly this kind of thought is what you are saying. Children and younger people, but also older people can experience or should experience exactly that. Get used to a certain comfort, to a certain quality of life, because I also didn't ride by bike only by myself, but with other people. It was fun. So today many children are brought by car to school. So actually they are losing fun. They have only fun with their parents. But so in this sense, I think looking at sustainability and educating children about sustainability is very core.
De exemplu, chiar dânsul când era copil, venea la școală cu bicicleta. Acum, în ziua de azi, mulți copii s-au dus la școală de către părinți, pe lângă faptul că era o chestie foarte sănătoasă pentru dânsul, socializa cu copiii, cu ceilalți prieteni, așa, copiii din ziua de azi sunt doar în mașină cu părinții și cam atât. Bun, ajungea la școală cu echile înghețate și căldureau, asta e partea a doua.
And I have more ideas for you in just a second. Looking at finance, I would like to start off with and to cite someone you might know, Faust from Goethe, who said, "To gold they tend, on gold depend all things, O poverty." So there is actually more than just money, but let's talk about it. I will talk about it, certainly, and I invite you as well to share your thoughts. I have key messages for you and have then ideas how to invest or make stakeholder investment within your local sustainable action plan.
Cea de-a doua parte a prezentării deputează câteva versuri din Goethe. Cu toții ne dorim aur, cu toții depindem de aur, toate lucrurile, vai sărăcie. Și atunci câteva idei acum pentru a găsi resursele necesare să punem în practică aceste idei mărețe. Okay?
So, a key message which I would like to share is going back to the first message of my first presentation, is to create a strategy, a vision, and inspire your citizens. Inspire them, for instance, to become a solar city, to invest in solar technology within their city. Spreading as a municipality information on where to invest. Maybe on the rooftop of the town hall, maybe on the rooftop of a school, which is also public. So offering opportunities for your citizens for creating, shaping the solar city they want.
Strategie, așa, la nivel local, poate implica chiar oamenii, de exemplu, crearea de panouri solare pe acoperișul primăriei sau al unei școli, oamenii să fie inspirați să participe ei.
The same goes with private business, of course. Inspire them with your aim to become a solar city, like for instance Freiburg did, and now Freiburg has clustered many institutes, many companies which constantly work on solar energy, are renowned, improving, and the city gained quite a lot with this vision of becoming a solar city.
Un alt factor sunt, bineînțeles, agenții economici, pentru că, de fapt, și implicarea lor este un mare câștig, dar, în egală măsură, așa, pentru a fi inspirați și a crede în ideile pe care le propunem noi ca municipalitate.
So it does not always mean that the city needs to invest everything. It also means that the city provides the platform and the access to industry as well as to the citizens to invest themselves.
Municipalitatea nu trebuie să investească numai ea, ci să ofere o platformă pentru cei care doresc să participe, să le ofere calea și să le arate cum.
Secondly, often we don't talk to each other. So actually this this talk we have right now is quite good, but I would like to have more thoughts from your side as well. We also within municipal administration sometimes don't coordinate and don't talk to each other. And it can be, and it is quite likely, that there is a department working on the recreation of the public park, not talking to the energy department. And there might be also a financial fund provided by the central government for the recreation area. But if they don't talk, they might not use the synergy they could have of creating and shaping the recreation area in the park and install at the same time with the money new street lights around the park, which use solar energy, for instance, just as an example. So we actually spent the euro, or we could spend the euro potentially, or the lei in this case, we could spend it twice. We could spend it with the central government money of the recreation area, but have forgotten to talk to the energy department and their sustainable energy action vision to implement also the street lighting, or to refurbish the street lighting in the park at the same time. So my message here is use synergies, talk to each other, try to spend the euro or the lei just once, and having different opportunity and free resources in the sense that you can invest even into further development.
Comunicarea este foarte importantă. Dacă nu vorbim între noi, atunci ne putem, de exemplu, irosi resursele. De exemplu, spunea dânsul că poate vrem să creăm o zonă recreațională, un parc, și nu ținem cont poate de ce ne spun cei de la departamentul de energie. Poate nu am putea folosi niște panouri solare sau niște lumină care să fie furnizată de către soare și nu mai e nevoie să punem alt stâng și altă energie electrică. Putem folosi sau irosi mai degrabă bani la guvern făcând un parc și apoi să ne complicăm singuri luminându-l. Și atunci comunicarea între departamente este cheia.
Another thing which I would like to share with you is to think life cycle cost wise, meaning that you need to think not only what is the cheapest product, but what will be the cheapest product during their usage of time. And that is quite tricky for the procurement department, but there are tools which we can offer. For instance, here the smart SPP tools for free can be downloaded at the internet and can give you the basis for the procurement process in your city, that you can involve life cycle costing, that you can procure officially and legally safe not only the cheapest product, but the cheapest product according to its lifetime. Meaning that you will not, when you need to buy a lamp, you will invest not in the cheapest lamp, but in the LED, the best technology possible, because that is, according to the lifetime payment, the best option you can have. So you save money and save energy by spending just a little bit more. And this tool can make you do that.
Putem economisi investind, de exemplu, în achiziții, dar nu neapărat pe cele mai ieftine, cât cele mai productive pe termen lung. Adică să ne gândim că poate costă un pic mai mult, dar pe termen lung vor fi mult mai rentabile și mai eficiente.
We also need to think, and what we often neglect to think about, is that the public money we spend, what kind of effects does it have? And in Germany, for instance, we did some studies on how much money we spend on public transport and how much money we spend on infrastructure for individual transport, meaning for roads and individual traffic. And we came to the conclusion, or the study showed clearly, that actually when we invest into into streets and foster private transportation, it is much more expensive than investing into public transport. So investing into public transport is financially much more beneficial to the citizens as well as to the environment and to the sustainability of the city itself than investing into individual transport.
Investițiile în transportul public, de exemplu, sunt mult mai rentabile pe termen lung decât a încuraja transportatorii privați. Pe termen lung, transportul public este mult mai rentabil.
So what I'm encouraging you is to think out of the box, think about what is not so obvious, also financially. And in the sense also to say, together we are strong. And this goes also to the very much to the procurement department, meaning that if we join forces with different municipalities, with different units, departments within one municipality as well, to buy certain products with the scale of the procurement, we can reduce the price. And we might be able, when we cluster as municipalities, the electricity bill, or to negotiate something jointly for the next contract with the energy provider, we might save money and might even get a higher share of renewable energy through the grid.
Prin urmare, corelarea departamentului dintr-o municipalitate și faptul că stau de vorbă și discută poate fi o soluție pentru a reduce consumul de energie pe termen lung.
And last but not least, and I mentioned it beforehand, ICLEI is there for you, making exactly this exchange between different local governments to share experience in workshops, on conferences, through projects. So I appreciate this project very much, which gave me the opportunity to come here to learn about your experience, which you need to still share with me, and to see what your reality is like, for me to share what my reality is like, and to come together and exchange ideas and have a vision together.
ICLEI, organizația pe care dânsul o reprezintă aici, tocmai asta încurajează. Schimbul de idei, de experiență, putem învăța de reciproc de la unii de la alții.